Come on. Let's see here. Okay, save. And let's see what we got here. Save. All right, it's working. Test, test, test. Okay. Hello, everyone. Today is Thursday, 9/14/2023. It is 9:12 p.m. I still have some blue sky to the west, which is where I'm pointing. So I'm on a M13. And we're doing 8-second exposures with a live stack. I am currently at 13.4 for the bit depth. It starts at right around 8 when I'm running max gain. I'm just using the standard settings for alignment. Stacking is sigma clipping. And I do have the initial frame count set at 5. Now, just as a heads up for you, if the first 5 frames receive a satellite, a plane, or anything, it will get embedded in the stack. So you would have to stop and start it again to not have anything, to have a clean stack. I don't do any enhancements. I am guiding. So here's PhD. You can see that I am currently bouncing around, which this is normal for me. I'm probably a little off on my counterweights, just a little bit, but there is some wind out there, so I can normally get a little tighter, but 0.9, that's not too bad. You know, the stars are round. That's all that counts. I do use Nina to locate my targets because it has my restrictions embedded in the planetarium, the horizon file. And I can then bring that into Nina in the framer, where I can slew and center, find out what the camera angle is, and you can see just a little bit of tilt here, not much, just a little bit. And then I can then do a autofocus. So that was my last run, and this is pretty good for the C14 for the first run. You can see that it was at 14,980 and it went to 15,026, and that's mainly because the tube is shrinking, and we'll get to see throughout the night how much it shrinks and how often. And then when I'm done in Nina, I go back into SharpCap, and now this is a little bit longer than what I would normally use for deep sky lucky imaging, but I'm trying to push the base of the histogram over. So if I go into log view, you can see I'm kind of burying the, the left side, but that's not a big deal. We're still got a nice X in in M13, and as the stack continues to build, I only have 7 minutes in there, it will get better and better as more stars start to pop in. And I can kind of show you, like you can see all of these stars right in here are starting to pop in. And as the stack continues to grow, it will, these stars will get brighter and brighter and start to fill in the view of M13. All right, so there shouldn't be any, well, I have one bad frame. That this did not get stacked. In fact, there's 2 frames that didn't get stacked. I haven't done a dither yet. That's every 5 minutes. And then this is my brightness filter, and you can see my skies are a little funky right now. There is some really light, a light layer of clouds that are supposed to melt away by 11 o'clock. So we don't have the best skies, and you can see that in the brightness filter. Kind of jumps around every frame, and that's how quick it changes. So you got one viewer in Live Skies. Not sure who that is. I'm also streaming on YouTube, mainly because YouTube will be my archive for my Live Skype streams. Kind of works out pretty good. Now what you can see is we're starting to pick up some colors in the stars. And that will only get better the longer the stack goes. So we're currently at 9 minutes. Got 68 frames in the stack. How far away is M13? Well, we do have access to this guy. M13, let's see what it says. Distance, 22.2, whatever that means. They get into apparent magnitude. Characteristics. I am currently sitting in the basement and my gear is outside. So I could look at the hand controller, but well, maybe I wonder if it's the, I don't know if this would be, let's try Stellarium, see what Stellarium says. Distance 7 something, 7.7. Oh, here we go. 25,117.4 light years. Sorry. Hope that helps. Now I'm in the hobby more for not just the pretty pictures, but I'm also in it because of the gear. So I like to play around with the hardware and the software and that combination to get what you see here on the screen. Now on my other scope, I have two running today. Which I haven't got going yet. Let's see. I am going to salute and center, and let's see what we get here. Might be in a tree, which is par for the course for me. So now it's pausing the stack to do a dither. And generally when that happens, I'll start clicking off frames that get, excuse me, lost. Because it really doesn't stop the stack. Okay, so it says it found it. So on my other scope, oops, sorry. Come on. Yeah, it must be in a tree. Let's see here. Yeah, I kind of think I'm in a tree. So let's up this to 10 seconds. You can see the big black spot here. So this is a Raza setup, and when I run two scopes like this, the Raza will be in auto mode, and I'm just getting that started. So I am in a tree, because you can see some stars here, but the tree is blocking. So what I got to do is find another target, one that isn't so buried in the... where is... Probably right there. I wonder if we can get this guy. This might also be in a tree. Yeah, I like to stay on targets for, depending on what I'm doing, anywhere from a half hour to an hour. But with the Raza, I go a little longer because the exposures are longer. Well, it's not so much distance as it is brightness of the target you're going after. It could be a long ways away, and if it's a bright something like a bright planetary or something like the Veil, which is fairly close but dim, that is everything requires a different exposure and gain setting, and what's going on here? Is that in a tree too? But I generally go for, with the Raza, because the Raza is so freaking fast. It's F2. Why is the... I'm going to have to run outside real quick. I'll be right back. So I'll put it on, let's put it on the other one. Stand by. Okay, I am back. So I gotta figure out why this rig is not working. So let's go. Well, that would help. For some reason, the camera disconnected. So I've got 15 minutes, and if I start playing with there are a lot of stars in there. So please bear with me here while I attempt to get the other rig going. Okay, slow and center and see what we get here. Now I don't know how much you know about the histogram, but depending on the program that you're using, left side is the black point, the white side is or the right side is the white point, and then you have a mid slider, like right here. And generally, would you be using the mids to stretch? And that's basically what this is, a linear image. So if I just set this to nothing, whoops, sorry. A linear image would be very dark, something like that. And you would use the mids to stretch your data to something like this. And depending on the camera, in my particular case, I'm running with a ton of gain. I've got max gain, 8-second exposures, and I have a dark and a flat running. So I have what will save me is the total number of frames will reduce the noise. And not only will it reduce the noise, but you can see all these stars that are starting to come in. Now these weren't there even 100 frames ago. So if we let this go to 30 minutes, all these stars will look like this. Which I think is pretty cool. So it just keeps building and building. And what's really neat is we can see the X in M13. So when you can see the X in M13, you're doing pretty good. Okay, so let's do a rotation, see where we're at. Unable to determine. I think I have to stop and start the camera again, so bear with me. I'll be right back again. Okay. Let's see. Will the camera come back? Yes, it did. But we lost Nina. How's it going? SPZ 56. I am kind of just getting going here. So, trying to get my other rig going. So bear with me. Huh. That is weird. Okay, let's go. Pelican's got to be up. So we got 22 minutes into the stack. Hey Steve, how you been? So I'm actually doing, it's kind of a quasi deep sky lucky imaging session with the C14 at f11. And I'm using FWHM to reject and brightness. So you can see that my skies are a little messed up because I'm looking through some haze, which is kind of skewing the colors a little bit. What's going on? Oh, jeez, Jeff. Sometimes Jeff has a brain fart. I don't believe what I just did. That's probably going to be in the... I'll go back and we'll see. If you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at, right? I'm trying to get my Raza going, and the Raza uses... The display is a linear display, so if you don't stretch the display, you don't see anything. Yeah, the image that you're seeing here, M13, when you can see the X in M13, you're doing pretty good. I'm also broadcasting on Live Skies. Okay, let's see. We'll slow and center. And hey, Frank. So I'm kind of looking at two chats here. Now what's going to eventually happen is this stack continues to build out, is that the X will be harder to see because more and more of the stars will fill in. Now this is not, this is more of a function of my network being strained than anything else because I've got 2 remote desktop sessions going, and I'm sending out 2 high-def streams, one to Live Skies and one to YouTube. So sometimes the display gets a little iffy. But we'll take this out to 30 minutes. You can go wherever you want. I'm watching both. I kind of use YouTube as my archive. So if I do a Live Sky session, that session is being also streamed to YouTube, and then when I stop the stream, YouTube archives it for me, which is a good thing. Okay, so let's get this guy going here. Stinking tree. So let's go back. I should have known better. We'll go back to the veil on the other one. Okay, let's slew and center this guy. Some nice imagery you've been pumping out, Steve. Looking good. Not bad at all. There's 1 or 2 stars in there. And I don't know how you could go to sleep with that if you lived out here with that many stars so close. Okay, let's check the camera rotation. So I've been trying to get this veil region for the better part of a week. Why can't it get it? What's going on here? Huh. -10. Some days it just doesn't pay to get up in the morning. Unable to determine camera rotation. Okay, so what we're going to do, because I can, is I'm going to start a sequence. And I want to slew and center. I want to start the guider. And I want an autofocus. So autofocus every 30 minutes. I'm going to shoot 90 frames at a minute each. I'm going to dither every, let's go every 10 minutes. And she's off. So one of the things I like about Nina is the meridian flip is very configurable. And because of my restrictions, so if I pull up, let's see. So these are my restrictions right here. In fact, I think I can turn them off. So that'll give you an idea. My east is really bad. So that's the horizon down here. And then I got this guy. This guy is huge. I mean, it's almost 90 degrees. So I have to wait for a lot of stuff to get to just about zenith. And then I have from zenith to the west to image. So that really limits what I can do during a particular session. So like if I turn this off, I think M45, is that up yet? Let's see. M45 is not up yet. Oops. Yeah, it's right at the horizon. So I have to wait actually until probably November before I can get this guy, M45, which is really kind of hard. Hard on me. So on this rig, it's doing, oops, sorry. What the hell? There we go. It's doing an autofocus. And I have the veil, and I think I'm going to have to push it up a little bit. Dang it. I'll let it do the autofocus first. But what you want to try to get with an autofocus is the hyperbolic R squared to be as close to 1 as you can get it. And that will give you the best focus. So if I go back to the framer and push this down a little bit. Oh, wrong way, Jeff. There we go. I think that'll do it. Yeah. And I'll delete this one. The only bad thing about doing 2 streams is that there is generally a bigger delay for some unknown reason beyond my feeble little brain. Now, I don't like going over a minute with the Raza Mainly because it is so freaking fast that I can get enough data. And the reason why I like 90 frames is because I have so many planes and satellites that I literally can lose 40 frames doing 90. And that's under an hour. Now that's a rarity, but it does happen. Well, that's better. I like that better. Yes. And because of that, I need to go over. And the 90 gives me 30 frames to play with. And sometimes I'll lose 40. Sometimes I'll even lose more. It just depends on the night. Now, when I was setting up, I don't know if it was the Chinese or the ISS flew over. So, that's going to be flying through. Where I'm imaging is just above, where the geos are. So I've got a pretty good chance of catching some sats tonight. Nina is awesome. Now, I don't think Rock's fixed the SDK yet. So if I'm using betas, so you can see here I'm using a preview version. And this is, oh, there's an update. How about that? I'm not going to do it though. I thought I was there. I'm on RC1. No wonder it's acting weird. Anyways, because Nina has picked up an old or a newer version of the Mellencam SDK, you have to replace it with the August, I think it's August 16th of 2022 in the Nina libraries, and that'll fix the Mellencam driver. Like I know this week alone, Nina's gotten a couple updates, and each one is replaced. Every time you get an update, it replaces the Mellencam SDK. So when this finishes, we should be in autofocus heaven here, and then we'll go to another target with the other one. I love Stellarium. Stellarium is they've changed the compiler. It's either the compiler or the program they're using to write the code, because they're trying to get into Mac, so it's Qt based, and it broke the telescope drivers. So sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And what will happen is it just disappears. So you got to use, I think it's the Qt5 version of the latest versions of Stellarium. And that seems to be the most stable with a telescope connected. But I don't use Stellarium. I just use Stellarium to pick and to use my horizon data. So this is my yard. And then that data can come into Nina. Whoops. Now this is the first autofocus, so it's going to be a little weird. And then after that, it straightens out, because what I should do is write down where I started my sessions, because the telescope is, especially now as the nights are getting cooler, the tube is shrinking. So that's changing where the focus would be when I first start. But you can see I'm still 1, hyperbolic R1, and that's beautiful. And this is where it was, and this is where it went. So it jumped almost 33 steps to get a good autofocus. So now it's going to start exposing. And you can see there's the witch's broom. There is Pickering's triangle right in through here. And this is only a 6-second exposure. So the next one that comes in, I just want to see what it looks like. You can see that I'm now guiding. In this machine, this mount guides wonderfully. I mean, I've got a total error of 40, and it'll drop because I have predictive PEC turned on, and it takes a little bit for it to learn the mount, which is what all this garbage is, and then it starts to settle out, and you can see that it's going down. So that's 0.39, 0.38. It will just keep getting better until it gets down to maybe 0.25, which is awesome guiding. I'm not going to complain about that. So you can see, let me get rid of this. There's the veil. Now I have, because I'm using a full frame sensor, I do have some vignette to mess with, but that's not a big deal. I mean, you make a good flat, that'll go away. But there's some awesome detail in here already. Lots of good detail. Look at that. That is frickin' awesome. You know, and you stack 60 good frames of these. Lovely. Okay, so let's kill this. And let's go here. And I will save this. Now what it saves it as is a linear file, so it doesn't care what the color adjustments you have are. It doesn't care what the histogram settings are. It ignores all that. It's just basically like a raw file. And that's all in good. I don't even think it uses the flat and dark when it saves the file. So what we will do is clear this. We'll stop the stack. We'll go to a live view. That's what a single frame looks like. I'm going to kill the camera. I'm going to go into Nina. I'm going to start the camera. And let's go to so what will happen is I'm going to catch the, not sure I want to do that. M57, let's go to M57. So I'm going to grab the data from Nina. There's the ring nebula, dead center. I'm going to slew in center. And you notice I just started the camera. I don't need to cool it. I just need to start it. Because the exposures, I'm not using Nina to grab data. I'm just using Nina to slew and center on the target, and then figure out what the camera rotation is. So you can see it generally takes 2 cracks at it with my gear, which isn't too bad. And you can see here it's reslewing, now it's settling. It's going to image, and it should be right there. Boom. Lovely. So now I am going to do a rotation, and we should see this thing move, and it moved just a little bit. So I am happy with that. I am going to do another autofocus run. Now you could do this with Mellowcam Sky, exactly what I'm doing here. Instead of going to SharpCap, you could go, when you're done in Nina, you can go back into Mellowcam Sky. And I have videos on how to do that for those that are interested. You can see my hyperbolic R squared is still at 1. Now this rig, it's partly to do with F11 and partly to do with my autofocus settings aren't quite right. So I'll generally get between 0.95 to 1. Just depends. And the wind has a big effect on your autofocus. So if the the dew shield on my on the C14 is so big that it acts like a big sail, and it doesn't take much wind to, if I'm pointing into the wind, it's going to move the scope, and that affects your autofocus. But even with that, it really has to be pretty windy to not get a good autofocus. So you can see that I'm still at the hyperbolic R squared of 1. And it might do another one and stick it over here, which I think it's just doing that now. Yep. So it should be done, hopefully. Finished. Are you finished? One more. Probably put one up here. Yeah. Okay, so it was at 15.026 and it went to 15.024 or 42. So my tube is shrinking. It's getting colder out. I can't remember what it was, but it was in like right around 50. And it was in the scope was in the garage all day, so now that it's outside, the tube is starting to shrink, and that's changing my focus. So as the tube shrinks, my step size increases. If it was to be the opposite, and the tube was out in a cool environment, and then I took it outside and it was 80 degrees or 90 degrees out, it would go the other way. It would be losing steps. So now I'm done in Nina. We'll take a quick look at the image, and I like the way these stars are looking. In fact, there's a double right there. Lovely. So I can stop the camera. I can go back into SharpCap. I can start the camera. And you want to use the ASCOM driver from August also. So I don't need as much exposure for the ring. Maybe we'll see what this looks like here. Yeah, let me knock this down to 4. See what that does. Yeah, like that. We'll go with that. So we're going to do 4-second exposures, max gain. And this is what a single frame looks like. So I'm going to jump into live stack. I'm going to need to turn on Nina, or PhD. I will clear this. Now, not many people know this, but in PhD, this has nothing to do with what, this is just for your aid in the window, this window. It has nothing to do with Nina. In fact, you could just slam it to the left or slam it to the right. It does not care. It's just for your eyes only. So what I used to do before I got into plate solving was I would use my guide scope to find the target. And I would just do something like that, overexpose or oversaturate the image just to see the target. But I don't do that anymore because I have plate solving. So we'll go back to SharpCap. We will go and now it really looks pretty bad right now, but there's only 76 seconds of data. And if I jump over to status, you'll see that I'm at 12.3 with 20 frames. So it actually starts under 10, I believe. It goes up pretty quick. And by the end, if I took this out to 1,000 frames, I would actually be over the bit depth of what the camera is capable of doing. And that's one of the advantages of deep sky lucky imaging, is the bit depth goes way up, even though you have a 14-bit camera. So we can already see in through here that there's some neat stuff going to be happening. And the noise will start to clear out. We already got some of the red stuff to pop in here. So we'll just let this go. And we'll do a 75% zoom. Now you can see, looking at these stars, this is my atmosphere, isn't the best right now. It's kind of jumping around. You can see it jumping around here. We'll look at the brightness filter. It's going up and down. That's the, I do have some smoke today. Very light smoke, but it's smoke. It's been a rough year for smoke. Horrible year for smoke. And I'm already up to 13.3 on the bit depth. And I've got 2 minutes and 40 seconds in. So we've got a star there, a star here, and a star here. I think there's a star right, oops. One, two, three. These will fill in nicely. We'll just let this go. I have in this rig, I've got an L Pro, Optolong L Pro. And in the Raza rig. It's an IDAS LPS D3, I think they call it. It's it's very good with sky glow, and I get sky glow bad. Plus, I have LEDs, LED street lights. The whole the whole state went LED 2 years ago, and that broke most of my filters. In fact, I've been thinking about starting to sell some of them because I can't use them anymore. Network connection is not stable. Tell me about it. So right now it's doing a dither, and when it dithers at 4 seconds, I lose. You can see it's clicking off frames because it does not stop the exposures. It's still clicking off exposures. So those frames just get lost, which, you know, I don't care. So you could literally lose, let's just say 50 or 60 frames in 50, or 500, I should say. Let's see what this guy's doing here. Oops. So you can see that the total RMS error is 0.34, which for how this is pointing, it's not too bad. Not too bad at all. Not too bad at all. Some beautiful color in there. This will clean up nice. Now, I don't know if Steve is still here, but I have made parts that fixed my Raza ring. And you can see in this data, outside of my vignette, I have no ring, which you would have seen without the fixes in place. So I have a more linear fall off. So I have a hot spot. Every fast scope has a hot spot in the center, and then it falls off to the outer edges, which is what you're seeing here. So I've got 18 frames in, and this is starting to look pretty damn good. Excuse my French. In fact, if you looked at my, after my serial workflow, and you looked at the linear file that's created from that workflow, it really doesn't look that good. And that's mainly because I'm on the edge of having enough data, but I can eke, with the GHS, I can eke out what I'm after, and then I can take care of the noise with other tools. And then I have sharpening routines that I use that do a very good job. I don't know if you saw my M51, but that thing is That thing is like a 3D object sitting in the middle of space. That's just a wonderful, wonderful image. Surprised Jack isn't here. But you can see there's this little red thing sticking out here, and there's a little bit over here. And as this stack builds up, it's probably going to take a couple hundred frames. You can see right in through here, there's a lot of noise. It's probably going to take a couple hundred frames to get rid of this noise. But there's a lot of nuss. We're starting to see the stained glass look in the center here. I have to step out for a little refreshment because I got a dry spot. I'll be right back. I am back. So one of the things I really enjoy, hey Jules, is the fact that I'm in the house. Okay, catch you in a bit. So I am doing a deep sky lucky imaging session with the C14 at f11. You can see that my exposures are at 4 seconds and I'm at max gain, and I just started this. When I first started, this was like 12, and I'm above what the camera is capable of producing. And that's one of the advantages of deep sky lucky imaging, is you've got so much data that data builds up the bit depth. And you can see that as the bit depth goes up, more and more of this weird detail comes out. And if you look at my histogram, the data is slammed up against the left. Still have a little bit of noise, but not bad. But it's starting to clear out. And you can see this guy right here, and there's starting to be like a little nub here, and there's some stuff going on. All this will start to fill in. And it looks like we've got a roll right in, starting to happen in here. And this is only with 8 minutes and 44 seconds worth of data. Yes, it does, Jules. But one of the advantages of, and with this particular camera, full gain also gives you the least amount of read noise. And that's important because this really faint stuff would normally get lost in the read noise. So I think with this camera, I'm down around 0.6, which is very low. And the only way you can achieve that low read noise is at maximum gain. So what will happen is you can see here that I do have a lot of noise, but by a couple hundred frames, this noise will be all gone. I'm kind of overstretching here a little bit. And some of the blockiness you're seeing is I'm really pushing my network. I'm maxing her out. So the remote desktop sessions are feeling the effects of my maxed out network. I think I can show you, I don't know what machine it's on. I'll just close this for a minute. Sensor chart. So this is the chart for my DS24 and my DS62 in high contrast gain. So this is the 24, the DS24, and this is the DS62. And if you look at the read noise, at maximum gain, it goes down just about, that says 0.3. Where is, oops, wrong button, Jeff. So the read noise goes down to, let's just say 0.3, but if you look at the dynamic range, that goes down also to, looks like it goes down to about 8, 9 maybe. So when the stack first starts, that's where the dynamic range is, 9. And if we go back to my stats, I'm already at 15.3 with 161 frames, or call it 140 frames in the stack. 10 minutes of data. Now for my other camera, it's not as good with the read noise. You see it says 0.8. So this camera wouldn't be as good as my DS24 is at doing deep sky lucky imaging, but it still is below 1, which that's good. So what that allows is for those faint photons to come in, hit the sensor, and not get lost in the read noise. And then you of course need more frames, but those more frames will average out the noise. Hope that made sense. So you can see that I now have 1, 2, 3, 4 stars, and they're starting to firm up a little bit. And that will happen with more frames. And I have seen a an image. Now, I also shouldn't be grabbing this much data. So if I zoom out to, that's the field of view of the DS24. So in theory, I really should just be grabbing this area in here. And that would really save me, because I'm at 24 megapixels. And that is probably 40 megs, 30 or 40 megs each. So if I could chop that down and just grab closer to what the target is that I'm after, then I would save disk space. But I'm not saving these files to disk. I am just letting SharpCap stack away, and I don't care how big the image is, because I'm not saving the individual frames. I don't know if you can do ROI in, but you can change the capture area here in SharpCap. So you would just basically change the image size to whatever you want, and then recenter on the target. So that's basically a form of ROI. So if we zoom back in here again, go to, that's 100%. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 stars. But look at the detail that's starting to form in here. And this is only 13 minutes of data. And I'm at the, this flabbergasts me, because this is F11, guys, and I'm at 4 seconds. When I first got into Mellencamp cameras, the version of Mellencamp Sky used to stack in a way that the longer you built this, the longer you let the stack go, the better the image got, to a point. So I used to stack 300, 400 frames and made beautiful images. But then they changed something in Mellencamp Sky, and I don't even go over 90 frames anymore, because it just doesn't do anything. Now, that's nothing against Mellencamp Sky, because Mellencamp Sky is designed for the quicker view, which, nothing wrong with that. But if you want a little bit more like this, then you have to come up with different ways to grab this data. And you can see in here that we're starting to get that stained glass look on the inner portion of the ring. Let me see if I can bring it out a little more. And there's a bunch of stuff that's just starting, you can see it. It looks a little ratty right now. But those are those very faint photons that don't get lost in the read noise that are starting to come through, because I'm at max gain. And if we look at what the bit depth is, I'm now at 15.7, where I was at 15.3 a little while ago. Now that's a nice looking ring for 14 minutes. But the advantages of deep sky lucky imaging is you can just, and SharpCap, is you can just let the stack go and it'll keep building signal, and the image will get better and better and better. Now, I know that there are people that have gone, they'll do deep sky, very faint objects, galaxies. They're using deep sky lucky imaging for everything. And they'll take 4,000 or 5,000 images. I just don't, that becomes a job. And which is why which is why I prefer what SharpCap is doing, because I don't want to be processing all this data. SharpCap's doing it for me, and I don't really save this data. It's more for live views. But there's all kinds of stuff going on in here. You could just see that there's almost like little jumps where the image improves. It's pretty cool how this works. Now there's a certain point, like I would say that Jack's RC16 would probably resolve a little bit more than what my 14 and my light polluted skies will do. But you know, there's nothing wrong with this image at all. I mean, that's 100% view. And we're really looking at some pretty amazing detail. We're now up to almost 16 on the bit depth with a 200 and we'll call it 210 frames. Well, it does say frames ignored. We'll have to look the next time it does a dither. Yeah, it is. It's interesting, the all the research I've done on this technique, and everybody's got their own little twist to it. It's very effective. Like I've done, I actually, it's too late now, I think. Yeah, it's too late now. I lost it. But I did the Eagle Nebula the last time, and I was using 6-second exposures, and it looked beautiful. I wonder if, let's see if, Superman. It's around here somewhere. And 30. Huh. Wonder where it is. The hell is that? A little error in the in the data. Oh well. Wonder if the spindle is up. Nope. And you can see all this stuff is starting to. It's very interesting the way this works because you're basically getting photons, literally photons, and then they build. And that's what you're seeing. That's why it's so jaggy out here. Because we're just catching like photons. And then they hit. And then we need to wait for more photons to hit because they're so far and few between on this real faint stuff. This is an L Pro, Jules. And that's mainly to help me a little bit with the light pollution. There's all kinds of stuff starting to hit here. So we've got 20 minutes in. We'll take it out to 30 and see what happens. Then we'll go someplace else. Probably go to what is this? M57? 27. We'll go to M27 next. I mean, look at the clumpiness in here. That's there's a point of diminishing returns, which I haven't found yet because I really don't go that long. I did take one out to an hour, and that was like 900 frames, and it was really a good looking image. Very interesting how this slowly builds up. Like there's something going on right here. And that's 156%. Let's go find So there's the ring. That's the JWST ring. We'll never get that good. And that's Hubble. So that's some of the ratty stuff that we're actually seeing. This stuff in here. So if I go back to my image, you can just see it's building now. All that ratty stuff. Well, that's pretty damn nice. You leaving, Jules? Oh, sorry about that. My screen jumped. So if you look at this image, and then we'll look at the Hubble image, this is what's out. It is very rough looking right here, all this stuff. To even be getting this in 20 minutes is with 4-second frames is pretty amazing to me. Just simply amazing. And I mean, it's kind of a stretch, but if you look through here, and then we go back to the Hubble shot, you could see that division between this and this, and then this. And this must be what I'm seeing starting to fill in here. This stuff. Could be this. Bet you it's this thing. So if we look at mine, you could see right here, there's a little dark clump. This is so cool. And look at how much more it's filled in. Hey, we'll catch you later, Jules. Have a good night. That is so cool. Now, what is this? Let's look at that. That must be this. So that's a different color. Huh. Got 23 minutes in. But this is freaking amazing. All of this area through here. It must be this. So let's see if we can see this. I got it right side up here? Yes, I do. That's that. So So this right here is this. I'm almost tempted to let it go. Let's take a peek at the other machine. Oops. Meridian flip? Didn't flip? Looks like it flipped. Yeah, it flipped. So I have 40 of the 90, so about half on this one. Doing good with the focus today. Okay, so this guy is doing good. Got 24 minutes. That is amazing. Can't say that word enough, I guess. This hobby is humbling. And we'll stop it at 32 or 30-ish. This is 57. Hmm. Getting more of that darker lane in through here. That's pretty cool. So I would think that M27 should be really good. Where's Vega? Right there. And we're past the meridian, so this should be pretty good. What's this? Pretty darn cool. Where's the wagon wheel? Alrighty, so we got a few more frames to click off here. Thanks, Steve. I've never gotten this dark stuff before in the ring. In fact, I didn't even know it was there. But that's what we're starting to see, these dark lanes on the inner surface here. That's cool. And then to even get the modeling in here, whatever that, be interesting to see how this cleans up. This technique is really geared towards like small planetaries, things like the ring and the dumbbell, galaxies it really does well with. Hey Don, thanks. Hey, take a look at this ring, Don. So here's the Hubble ring. And you see how we have these darker lanes on the interior? Now look at mine. What do you see? This is unbelievable, this picture. I'll go to 100%. See the dark stuff? Now, I'll never be able to resolve. Yes, this is live. I'll never be able to resolve like this because I'm not in space. But to even be able to make this stuff out, like if I really stretch the image, you can just start to see this ratty stuff here in my image. And it's this stuff in here. But these are 4-second exposures at maximum gain. And I have 450 frames and 30 minutes of data. So I'm going to save this now. And I'm going to clear this out. Pause it. And this is what one frame looks like right here. That's what one frame looks like. And we got my image that you just saw from this. This is the 24, Don. The 24 has better read noise than the 62 does. So now I'm going to stop the camera. I'm going to jump into Nina. I'm going to start the camera. And I don't need to cool, I just need to start. So I've already got the dumbbell framed up. So now I'm going to do a slew and center on the dumbbell. And Nina's going to slew the scope and then take an image. And you can see down here, it is now settling. And now it's doing a 5-second exposure, which we'll see up here shortly. There it is. That's not bad. But let me see. Yeah, we'll leave it there. I'm not going to be too picky. I'm just going to check the camera rotation. And it moved just a little bit, so I'm a little bit off on my rotation, but that's okay. And now what I want to do is an autofocus, because it's been a while. This is my last run. And you can see that the steps are currently at 15042. So it's cooler here tonight, so the tube is shrinking, so this number should get bigger. We will see. Yeah, I don't think it's, for a live session, that kind of gets the point across. That would be something I'd do on my own and not try to bore people with like a couple hours of data. I have 2 streams going, one to YouTube and one to Live Skies. And I'm kind of answering questions to both. How's Carol doing, Don? When you see this, that is my backlash is off a little bit. Yeah, Jack and I had a little heart-to-heart, so I'm slowly gonna work myself back in. Hey, see you later, Steve. Thanks for stopping by. Cool. Beautiful looking stars, Don. I could never focus this good, ever. So now I'm done. So all I have to do is stop the camera, go back into Sharp Cap, start the camera. Yeah, that's cool. Would that be with the roof too, or just the walls? Oh, even better. So this is how I'm going to start this stack. And you can see that this is the first single frame. It's very dim, but this is what deep sky lucky imaging is. With the read noise at maximum gain being so low, the fainter photons have a better chance of making it to the sensor because the read noise isn't swamping those faint photons. So I'm going to go into live stack. There's the first frame. And what I want to show you is right now the bit depth is 9. And it's already gone up to 10, 10.3, and it will continue going up as the stack builds. Now I'm dithering, so I'm guiding. Let me just turn the guider on. Now the dither will work, and it tells me that SharpCap sees PhD is guiding. So now when SharpCap sends a dither command, PhD will do it. I am rejecting on FWHM, and you can see I had 3 frames already get rejected. So I either had some smoke rolling through, a little thicker smoke, or clouds. And you could usually see it in the brightness filter. It jumps around quite a bit. I might need to up this. We'll see where it goes. Yep. But, there's a but. Always a but, Don. Where is it? Guiding. Nope. Stacking. Yes. So, it uses a sigma clip, but it needs, and you can set this number, I just leave it at default. If a sat or a plane comes in on the first 5 frames, it will make it into the image. So what you got to do is just restart the stack. So I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to jump this to 6. Because I think we're a little too soft here. We'll start again. Yeah. It will eventually, I could even go more. Let me try 8. We'll do a little more on this one. That's good enough for hand grenades and horseshoes. Let's go 70, whoops, too big. So you can see the 3 stars that everybody likes to talk about. So we'll let this go a little bit, build up. And what will happen is these lobes will slowly start to build and fill in. And while it's doing that, the detail in the center here is just going to get unbelievable. Unbelievable! Yep. And part of the reason for that is the bit depth is going up. So as the bit depth goes up, the dynamic range is going up. And that's where all that faint stuff is. And as I was showing, let's see here, I can do this. Oops, wrong one. So this is the DS24 and this is the DS62. And what I want you to look at is the read noise. So the DS24 is down to 0.3. The DS62 is 0.8. Now that's a very small difference, but it's a lot. And because the read noise is so low, you're not going to lose those faint photons in the read noise. And you can also see that the dynamic range starts at like 9 for that camera, which is where it started, 9. It's a so if you ever want to try deep sky lucky imaging, you need a camera that's below 0.6 on the read noise. You can see here, this one is 2.8, and this one, it doesn't even get to 1. It's just a better sensor. The 26 is going to be very close to this because it's the same family. You can see right here, those lobes are starting to fill in. Whoops, I didn't want that. I have to check my other rig. I don't know why it does this. Sometimes it just does not like to restart. But that's okay. But you can see the guiding is 0.37, which is, it's excellent. And you can see the targets all hitting within the 0.5. That's even better. Doing an autofocus. I'll probably be on, what time is it? A couple more hours? No worries. This is a beautiful curve. This one should be right around the 1. I was telling Jules, I said, I could never focus this good, ever. I don't know what it was. I just never had a touch for focusing. And when I started working on this autofocus stuff, there is no going back. Yeah, that'll make you lean and mean again, right? Yeah, there's just no way I'll go back, ever. There's Pickering's triangle right here. So it's a little bit off because it did a flip. Do I not have the rotate? Where is that? Imaging maybe, rotate. Auto flip is on, okay. Doesn't look like it did it. Interesting. So I have 25 more frames, thereabouts. That's, wouldn't that be the other way around? This is like saturation, I think. Yes, that would be gross. Yeah, I'm sure you're in the same boat we are. Temperatures, it didn't get above 60 here today. And it's probably in the 40s right now. I'd have to look on my phone. Uh, 54 says. Or 51, sorry. Okay, let's do this. Make it 10. Yep, that's sounds like what we're doing. In fact, I don't even turn the basement heater on until it's down in the 30s because it's three-quarters of the house. The basement is below ground, so it stays fairly warm on its own. Yeah, I bet. Excuse me. Who all's on here? Let's take a peek. Just you and me. I didn't advertise I was on. Figured if people wanted to see, they'd stop by and take a peek. Got a lot of nice color in the stars. It's amazing how many stars they just sort of pop in. Time is it? 10:24. 90 minutes is an hour and a half. This scope has got to be. Is it done? No. 18 more frames, and then we'll go someplace else with this guy. Foot surgery. Yikes. That's not fun. Wow. What was that from? You got bad circulation? Or sugar? Okay. Jeez. That sounds painful. Yep, it sure is. I was out of commission for, I hurt my back in the spring, and it took 4 months I couldn't sleep in my bed for 4 months. I had to sleep on the couch. And then when I started sleeping back in my bed, I couldn't sleep because it hurt. So I had to go back in the couch. Yeah. Well, let's see, I'll be 70 in January. And I think my brain thinks that I'm still in my 40s. But my back says, no, you aren't. And just to prove it, 4 months later, see these lobes now? Really starting to fill in. Well, when you get up, start getting up there, it's slow and steady wins the race. Yeah. See all this stuff in here is starting to fill in now. We got 100 frames for just about 15 minutes of data. That's where you got to have a goal for the day and say, okay, I want to do this or get this far, and don't get too upset if you don't do it. Yeah, framing is not fun. And then the roof. Oh, I mean, you would have had to have a crane, right? Yeah. Yeah. You know, around here, the banks are, it's hard to get a new car and a house around here anymore because the banks have tightened up. Well, just be glad you don't have to do it now. Call that a win. Yeah. Well, I was talking to a guy who said that he's almost upside down, and the bank has been calling him because they want money for him to stay in the house. Unbelievable. They're talking about, well, here inflation went up almost 4% last month. And they're predicting that it's going to be 4% every month until the end of the year. That's huge. I mean, that's like 40%. Oh my God. I mean, the gas has gone up. Gas went up 45 cents just last week. We got an asshole for a president. Food is unbelievable. Not only does it cost more, but the portions are smaller. And we're having trouble finding meat. This is starting to fill in nice, Don. Look at all this stuff out through here. Ugh. Well, we got one of those governors that thinks she's God's gift to all things green. So they're banning water heaters. They're banning air conditioners. They're banning gas stoves. They're banning gas heaters. They want it to be all electric. There's no damn way that they can replace all of these utilities that are all gas. I don't know what the hell they're trying to do. Does not make sense to me. Unbelievable what they're doing. Did you see Russia tried to shoot down a British plane over the Black Sea today or yesterday? That's World War III right there. That whole thing is a mess. It was a British missile that hit that shipyard. Missiles, I should say. And Russia isn't happy. And Russia's been threatening Britain with the Navy. And they've been, their subs have been surfacing next to all the North Sea oil rigs. That's like the whole infrastructure for Europe comes out of that North Sea. They start playing games with that. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good at all. And I think it was yesterday, China repositioned a bunch of airplanes to the Taiwan Strait and repositioned a bunch of ships, and they now have Taiwan surrounded. World's about ready to go upside down. Still amazes me that in I'm at 10 seconds now, but still, this is unbelievable. Blue star. Very cool. I don't know what it is. There's well, I shouldn't be saying this because it's being saved, so I'll bite my tongue. Well, our fearless leader is about in the same boat. I saw a report the other day, it said he's dead. Now, I don't believe it. Also, that Bogosian guy, they say he's alive too. It was a double that they shot out of the sky. Yes, they are. And we're starting to, I don't know if this is for real, but it looks like we're starting to get the, you know how it kind of looks like rays shooting out? Let's see, this is what, M27. Where is it? What the hell took that? Ground-based, okay. That sure don't look like the dumbbell. Huh. There we go. I think that's some of the stuff we're seeing out here. Starting to come in. Maybe. Don't know. Need a lot more frames to get that much detail. Ugh. Yeah, that's what people are saying. It may not have been staged. I mean, they shot the plane out of the sky, and there was someone that looked an awful lot like him in it. So you don't know. Was it a body double? And but like 2 weeks after that happened, he had a video out showing him riding around in Africa, saying that his demise has been greatly over exaggerated. It's kind of nice when there aren't a lot of people on. .99, 0.1. Threw a dither in there, that's why. You can see the dithers right here. Interesting. So what can we find? Dwarf planets. Dark nebula, dark skies, dwarf planets. Well, excuse me. The whale. Is that up? Nope. Sunflower? Nope. World Point? Nope. Spindle? Fireworks? Derelict? We could try that. I don't know how this one's going to turn out. Hey, good talking to you, Don. Say hi to Carol. Okay, I'm back. So this will be the last target of this session. Let's see if we can get this guy. To do a meridian flip. There it is. Settling, imaging, or exposing. Boom, picture. Oh. I think what I will do is just watch this. Okay, so we will save this. And we will call this a session. So thanks everyone that stopped by or will be watching in the past live streams. And we'll catch you